The weather is on the side of the North Vietnamese. Communist gunners timed their attacks to take advantage of the mist that periodically envelops the airfield, which prevents the American planes from striking back. 9 days into the siege, American intelligence reports the presence of a 4th North Vietnamese division in the Khe Sanh area, bringing the total enemy strength to approximately 40,000. Half of these appear poised for an attack on the garrison.
In early February, the enemy again tried to take the 861 complex. However, this time they made an effort on its twin sister 861A. The attack on that hill was repelled through the use of not only the supporting arms, artillery, air, but also, as with every other attack on the perimeter, by the organic infantry weapons, the 81 millimeter mortars, 3.5 rockets, M79, machine guns, and mines, and every other weapon available to an infantry battalion.
February 10th. The North Vietnamese Communist Party newspaper boasts that the U.S. faces a defeat as disastrous as that suffered by the French at Dien Bien Phu. There is growing concern over the fate of the Marine garrison as the U.S. press also revives the same specter. At stake now is more than a key military stronghold. The Communists are out to inflict heavy casualties, hoping to shock the Americans to the negotiating table.
The Battle of Khe Sanh. This was a very traumatic experience for the American people, but I never had any real concern about Khe Sanh. I had a few restless nights, but I had full confidence that we were going to win the Battle of Khe Sanh because we had the means.
The Americans have protection from big 175 millimeter guns at Camp Cairo, about 17 miles to the east, and at the Rock Pile, about 12 miles to the northeast. Inside the garrison, the troops have a handful of tanks, anti-tank weapons, 4.2-inch mortars, and about 20 artillery pieces, including 105 and 155 millimeter howitzers. But their secret weapon is air power. Fighter bombers of the Navy, Marines, and Air Force, capable of mounting 600 flights a day. But the crown king of the bombers is the B-52. Coming in at 20,000 feet and decimating the target area with 500 and 750-pound bombs, the B-52s strike terror in the hearts of the North Vietnamese troops. The enemy is forced to dig in, keep their heads down, and wait for the devastating thunder to pass. As reassuring as the combat planes are to the embattled Marines, it is the supply planes that garner the most enthusiasm. Unarmed C-130s and 123s brave shrapnel-infested skies to keep the Marines supplied with fuel, ammunition, medical supplies, building materials, and mail from home.
And according to our calculations, we could supply Khe Sanh by parachute drop, and we had prepared ourselves for this contingency some 18 months before. During the ensuing period, I had required the commanders to rely from time to time on aerial resupply to practice the system and get the pilots accustomed to dropping these supplies in all weather conditions. So when the time arrived, we were able to supply that garrison of some 5,000 people.
February 13th. The bloody standoff is 3 weeks old. Marine casualties mount as a platoon is ambushed by Viet Cong forces 800 yards outside the barbed wire perimeter. Allied aircraft concentrate on creating a protective wall of fire around the garrison to keep the Marines safe from advancing enemy forces.
The Marines were told to button up. I told them to confine their patrols to close-in patrols for their own security, because I did not want them venturing too far afield where men would get killed and wounded or lost, so that we could not afford to put out firepower in the area where we knew they were located. And we started pouring it on. And that's the thought that came to mind when I called this Operation Niagara. And this is exactly what happened. The bombs fell all the month of February and all the month of March.
North Vietnamese artillery continues to pound the garrison, but there is little even air power can do to stop the blasts. Some of the enemy guns and rocket launchers are dug into the caves across the Laos border, 10 miles away. February 22nd, troop movements indicate that the enemy is massing for the long-expected attack. The defenders waited out in their sandbag bunkers and trenches. They're positioned reinforced by tangled coil and barbed wire and studded with explosive charges and claymore mines. At command posts in Saigon and Honolulu, watch teams manning the war rooms wait for word that the anticipated communist assault has been launched. American intelligence reports indicate that the all-out attack should come early Monday morning, but it does not develop. The communists are unable to mass their troops for the attack because the airstrikes and heavy bombardment. Also, the Marines still control the high ground guarding the approaches to Khe Sanh. More than a week later, the attack has still not materialized. Time is running out for the communists.